What up, guys? Mad Scientist 7890 here, back at you with the In the Lab video. Now, with this one here, I got 3 topics. Boom, like normal. First thing I'm going to start off with here is the rumor coming out that Chris Jericho versus CM Punk will open Wrestlemania. Is the big, rumor coming out right now. Also, the possibility of having the Hell in the Cell in the middle of the show, and then the main event being Rock Cena. It just, to me, Jericho Punk, the way they're setting this up to be like, best in the world versus best in the world kind of thing, where they want to put on, a great match and blah, 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 blah. If they're going to open the show, it's just going to add more fuel to the fire to Jericho and Punk to be like, let's go out there and let's have a better match than Triple H versus Undertaker. Let's go out there and have a better match than Rock versus Cena. And I don't see it being that far of a stretch. I think CM Punk versus Chris Jericho could be the best match on the show. Some people may say that's a stretch. Some people have no faith in that being the best match on the show, obviously with the other two. But, with the possibility of, who knows, the idea of maybe some shenanigans in the Hell in the Cell, and also the word, out that the rumor that The Miz may have some kind of interference in Rock versus Cena, which I think is a terrible move. But there's really nobody else in this Jericho Punk feud that I would see interfering and making a big mess out of this. I don't know how I feel about it opening the show. I know it surprised a lot of people last year when Edge and Del Rio put on the first match on the show, and everyone was like, "What the hell?" I remember watching it with my buddies, and we were just like, what the hell is this already? This shouldn't be, right here. It should be up farther. And I could see the idea going behind, they don't want to kill the crowd before the other matches. They obviously want the main event to have the most heat. They wanted to have that Rock versus Hogan WrestleMania heat. And I really don't think it's going to matter regardless. I think it will. Either way the card is set. I did think that maybe they should split up, the Hell in a Cell and the main event with Rock Cena. I think that could have done a little bit of killing, but I really don't think Jericho versus Punk needs to open the show. I think, if anything, it at least should have been Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. I know they got snubbed last year, and they were supposed to be on the card in a U.S. title match, and then that got changed, and who knows what they're going to do. They may change it all at the last moment. They may not have Jericho Punk open the show. I know Jericho tweeted and had this tweet, maybe he was trolling, obviously. He's been doing that lately. Saying that's BS. Our match is going to be the dark match. It was just funny to see how they're playing it off. But me personally, for business, I could see it being good. And I could see where they're coming from. But as a fan, that match right there is a dream match in a lot of people's minds, and I know it's a lot in my mind. Jericho being one of my all-time greatest favorite wrestlers, and CM Punk being one of my favorite guys from the indies ever. So the combination of these guys two getting in the ring and locking it up in the first match at WrestleMania, I don't know. It just seems kind of Bush League to put those guys and kind of screw them over. But who knows? We'll wait to see what's going to happen. Next thing I'm going to talk about here is, a lot of people saying that there's a Victory Road pay-per-view coming up this weekend here with TNA. It's kind of a throwaway pay-per-view. No one expects Sting to win the title. I think it's on the line. Nobody expects anything special from this. Everyone's on their way to that Lockdown pay-per-view. This is basically just going to be my Lockdown, my expectations going into Lockdown. Everyone seems to be forgetting TNA. They're like, oh, whatever, blah, blah, blah. WrestleMania weekend's coming up here. You're at WrestleMania, you got Ring of Honor, you got Dragon Gate USA all in the same weekend. Headlining big shows. And it kind of leaves TNA out in the cold. A lot of people are like, oh, a couple weeks before WrestleMania, who cares? We're not going to buy Victory Road. F that. And I wouldn't expect it to be amazing. But I do expect Lockdown to provide, hopefully, if not their best pay-per-view of the year, one of their best pay-per-views in a long time. Because the way that this looks right now on paper, leading in, or who knows, they change stuff all the time, but 4 or 5 matches right here that could possibly be show stealers. You have Storm and Rude in the main event for the title. That right there, it's looking like they're going to lean towards doing Daniels versus Kaz versus AJ in a triple threat. I mean, there's another one. Jeff Hardy versus Kurt Angle in a cage. I think the dynamic with that would be great. Maybe Austin Aries doing something with another X Division guy. So there's those possibilities. Possibly like a specialty cage match with like Bully Ray or something, or a bit. If they bring Abyss back, doing some kind of like I don't know. They're still gonna. They still have the lethal lockdown also if they're planning on doing that. So I mean, the expectations for me for Lockdown are very high. I know I haven't been high on a TNA pay-per-view probably since last year's Destination X, where I thought it was really going to be a great TNA show, and it was good. It wasn't as good as I thought it could have been, but my expectations for this Lockdown that's going to be coming up in April are very high, and I don't know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you guys think. The matches you'd like to see for that, if you're expecting anything, if you're willing to buy the pay-per-view. I know, obviously every match is in a cage, so it's got some kind of added, like Elimination Chamber, Hell in the Cell kind of thing with the gimmick, but who knows? We'll see, but I'm hoping it lays out the way I just said it. Finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about here is I really haven't talked about it too much this year. Haven't really done any reviews on it. I've watched a lot of stuff, but I just haven't driven up the nerve to do any reviews on them. That's like Puro stuff, New Japan, All Japan, Noah, some other stuff. But what I want to talk about is Puro Domination. As of 2012 so far, compared to last year and I think the year before, Japanese wrestling so far this year has dominated the top match, top 10 match quality rating for me at least. I think the first top 5 matches I have on my top 10 matches of the year so far are all Japanese. They're all from Japan. The best match I've seen in a long time, Nakajima and Shingo, is like the top match of the year so far. It's going to be damn hard to beat. I wish I could remember. I think it's like 7-on-7 Dragon Gate, like an hour, 70-minute long match or whatever. They cut it down to 40 or whatever, and it was still amazing clipped. It's like 4.5 stars. Even though there's only one Japanese guy in this match I'm telling you about here in a minute. Still was in Japan. It was in Smash. Tajiri and Finley was awesome. And Okada versus Naito. So there's quite a few matches, Daisuke Sekimoto matches. There's the majority of my top 10 right now are all Japanese matches, purely Japanese based, and that begs the question: where's the great American matches this year? You would expect by this time at least to see something from Ring of Honor. That would be somewhere. I mean, you're in what 3 months into 2012 when we don't have at least one really solid four something higher American match. I mean, the closest thing I can really think of, the main event of 10th anniversary show for Ring of Honor was pretty solid, but I don't think it was amazing. Punk versus Daniel Bryan on Raw was very good. Aries versus Shelley from a TNA pay-per-view was pretty good, but there just hasn't been anything just standing out for American wrestling, match quality wise. Japanese wrestling is just owning ass this year when it comes to single matches. I haven't really seen too many full shows of stuff this year, but I've seen a lot of singles matches and tag matches from Japan, and they've literally dominated everything I've seen American wise. So let me know what you guys think about these topics here. First thing. What was the first thing? Did I just go blank here? It's probably the new hat. That's why I'm going blank. Jericho and Punk being opening the show, is that going to bother you guys? I know it's kind of bothering me because I'm such a big fan of both guys, but it may be a good business move for WrestleMania, at least this year. Lockdown. What are your expectations? I mean, oh god, TNA, has been improving in the last several months, but this is going to be a big marker for me whether or not I'm going to continue to really just like follow them to the T, like really watch every Impact and all the pay-per-views and all that. So Lockdown's got to show up for me and be something, you know, really good. It at least to expectations, I guess. It's really hard to, you know, explain, but I'm really hoping and I really would like to see TNA succeed because I think they have a lot of great talent. And then finally, if you're not up on the Puro kick right now, if you're not checking out any Japanese matches, you know, send me a message down here or personal message me if you're looking for some Puro matches that, you know, that are supposed to be pretty good, that I would say are better than a lot of American stuff this year. Hit me up. I'll send you, you know, a list of some matches you should definitely check out. So I'm going to get out of here, Mad Scientist. This is an In the Lab video. This hat is freaking sweet. I'm out of here. Deuces, people.